If you're watching this video, you're probably a mom who used to be a gym baddie, maybe an athlete, or someone who used to work out consistently 4 to 5 times a week. But now that you're a mom, you just can't seem to maintain a level of consistency with your fitness. And it's not because you don't care about your fitness, it's just that your life is completely different. And it's someone who is a stay-at-home mom now. I used to be a former fitness coach, bodybuilder, nurse. I've worn all the hats, and over the past decade and more, I've been able to maintain my level of fitness in every season of my life, especially in motherhood. I've lost over 60 pounds with my first postpartum, and now with baby number 2. I really want to share some of the top pieces of advice. I used to coach my moms and now myself, and these are the things that I would tell my clients, but also things that I've learned had I not gone through motherhood myself, because there's a difference between coaching moms versus actually becoming a mom yourself. If you like that kind of thing, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jen. Welcome to Meant to Mom. This is the training ground for strong and ambitious women who really want to start prioritizing their fitness again after kids. I'm going to teach you fitness, discipline, operating systems to run your household like the leader that you are and want to become. So subscribe and let's dive into it. Also, before we get started, I have a free guide called the Postpartum Kickstarter. And even if you're not postpartum, this is going to brainstorm and get your ducks in a row in terms of what's working, what's not working, and how you could kickstart your fitness journey and allowing you to get a clear picture of what your next steps should look like. So the first advice I would always give my moms was that if you don't run your schedule will run you. This is so true. I always tell my moms that you need to write down your schedule on a day-to-day basis on paper so you could visually see where the gaps are, what the ebbs and flows of your life is. Our mental load is crazy. We have to keep up with appointments, events, vacations. Kids are getting sick. We have back to school coming up, like getting the house ready. There's so many things that we have to keep tabs on that having your schedule and having a visual physical schedule right in front of you really allows you to see the patterns and the ebbs and flows of your routine. And what I would do is I would literally go on my Google Calendar and put the tabs of when I go to bed to when I consistently go to sleep, and then penciling in pretty much every little thing that I do on a regular day basis. Doing this gives you a bird's eye view of what's working, what's not working, and it's not about adding more to your plate, because we sometimes think if we need to pencil in a workout, we almost tell ourselves that it's another thing on a to-do list when we need to look at it as a non-negotiable and part of a thing that's actually going to improve our lives than take away from our lives. This could be any form of like scheduling. You could use Google Calendar. We like to do it because there are appointments and events throughout the year that I could share with my husband and I could find on my laptop, on my phone. So I always have it readily available no matter where I am. A good idea of when and how you could start implementing your workouts, meal prep, etc. Advice number 2 is working out 3 to 4 times a week is absolutely enough. Like as moms, we are so exhausted. We are so tired. And like that is the true definition of someone who is sleep deprived. And when it comes to training and when it comes to fitness in general, we automatically think that we need to do more. We need to get more workouts in. It's all about this hard grind that I feel like society has conditioned us to think. But in motherhood, it's the opposite. You want more recovery and sleep rather than training, because you don't want training to work against you to the point of burnout or soreness that lasts days where it breaks off your consistency. I consistently train 3 times a week. Most of the times it's full body workouts, but if I do 4, it consists of 2 lower, 2 uppers. That is the ballpark you want to hit depending on what season of motherhood you are in, whether you're post-pregnancy or you're a seasoned mom. Maybe you're in a season like me where you have a toddler. There are protocols in place in terms of the frequency of training that you put in. When it comes to training, I highly recommend resistance training. That is the most bang for your buck, not just in the short term, but in the long term as well. And then working in your recovery days, so intentional sleep recovery, like those are the things that are going to take priority 50% of the time, if not more. And so doing that gives you a little bit of peace of mind, but understanding that fitness is part of your life. It shouldn't take all of it to the point of burnout. And that is all you need, because I used to think training 4 to 5 times a week is the ideal number, but in motherhood, it's completely not. Advice number 3 is do it tired. This needs to be the mantra of motherhood, because as mothers, we do things tired. We breastfeed tired, we change diapers tired, we go about our day and run our lives, even go to work tired. And so when it comes to our fitness, we need to adopt that same mentality when it comes comes to showing up for a workout, because I truly believe showing up for the workout is half the battle, because we are sleep deprived. When you're sleep deprived, you are emotionally motivated to make decisions based on that. So we don't want to make decisions based on how you're feeling, and you want to adopt that kind of disciplined mindset. But sometimes when you're first getting started, you need to show up tired. And half the time, I don't want to wake up and get up in the morning, but it's that disciplined practice that is a little hard in the beginning, but it does pay off later on and gives you that snowball effect of continuing the practice of doing it tired. Moms, we are stronger than we think, mentally and physically. We give birth to babies and we do so much, and we show up for our kids even when we are running empty. And we need to adopt that same level of mindset when it comes to ourselves and how we show up for ourselves from a fitness and a physical and emotional perspective. Next is advice number 4, and that is stop waiting for the perfect season. Instead, plan for the season that you're in. And this makes so much sense when you're in pregnancy. I'm pregnant with baby number 2 right now, and we divide things up into first, second, and third trimester. We need to look at our fitness the same way. No matter at what stage in life you are in, especially in motherhood, you need to look at your fitness time in blocks and in seasons. Sometimes when we think it's going to take us a year to lose weight, or at least 6 months, it could feel so overwhelming that we don't develop consistency to keep us going. If you look at these training blocks or your level of fitness in phases and appropriately planning them and switching up your protocol based on the season you're in, you're more likely to stay consistent. You're more likely to see results, not just in the short term and the long term, and ultimately start feeling good because you're consistently keeping the promises that you make for yourself. I wouldn't tell a mom to be like, yeah, go work out 4 times a week in your first trimester. It's like, no, you're tired, you're on the couch, you could barely get up. And so what I would tell a woman in her first trimester is very different than what I would tell a woman who's freshly postpartum, to even you in your second trimester. And that's how you want to look at it when it comes to weight loss, building muscle, training for a high rocks event. We need to consider, because sometimes we tell ourselves, hey, I'm going to commit to 4 times a week, when that's just not the season I'm in. That should be okay. And sometimes we beat ourselves up and go through this cycle of self-sabotage when we just set ourselves up for success. Advice number 5, and this was like my favorite, and when I used to coach moms, the level of an emotional response when I would say this to them was crazy. This is something I truly feel, because it is a non-negotiable in my life, and that is work in girl time. Yes, work in girl time. And I get it. There are some mothers out there who don't have a community, who don't have a supportive group of women, and I highly recommend reaching out to people and seeking people online and doing whatever you can to get out there. But if you do have people in your corner, go and work in that girl time. It is like a non-negotiable. Once a month, I schedule girl time with my girlfriends, whether it's a group of us or one-on-one. It allows me to feel like a girl again, because sometimes we get so caught up on being a mother all the time that it becomes our whole identity. Not to say that's bad, but we start to lose ourselves and run on empty from that type of emotional cup. And so whenever I go see my girls, whether that's a coffee date or whatever, my heart is so full that when I come back, I feel like myself and I could show up better emotionally and mentally. It just allows me to just like disconnect from being a mom. It's amazing, and I always do it. It doesn't need to see your girlfriends. It could be something like a girly thing, because we forget we're women, we're girls, we like to do girly things. Go get your nails done, go get your hair done. Don't feel guilty about pampering yourself, because it is absolutely so worth it, because you pay it forward. And so tip number 5 is work in your girl time, because it's absolutely so worth it. And then advice number 6 is the last advice, and this is something that I never told my clients to do, but this is something I learned through motherhood. Is not that you need more time, it's that you need better systems in place that will run on autopilot, so that you're not having to think of all the things. Because like I said, motherhood, there's so much of a mental load and so much that we have to keep track of, that little things like what you're gonna wear, what your kids are gonna wear, lunches, what are we gonna eat? These are all the things that we could literally systematize so that you don't have to think about it. There are things scheduled in my planner that are consistently on those days. For example, on Thursday and Friday, I do my laundry days. I know people like to do laundry on different certain days of the week, and if that works for you, that's fine. But something that we do, as someone who has a toddler, I do the laundry for everyone. I have those Thursday, Friday days where I commit to doing all the laundry loads, and that's it. And that's been working for me consistently. Another thing would be building a capsule wardrobe for yourself, like a mommy uniform, right? Like when nurses go to work, they have to wear their scrubs. There's one less thing you have to worry about. Build a capsule wardrobe for yourself, for your kids, so you're saving money. Things are predictable. Even if you don't build a capsule wardrobe, you know, like your top 3 to 5 outfits that you feel confident confident and comfortable in on a day-to-day basis. I highly recommend investing and taking the time to do that, but little systems in place definitely helps you, again, have that predictability, be able to work around those systems so that you save time, prioritize yourself, and get to the gym. I hope you found these tips helpful. This has definitely helped me. I've been able to lose over 60 pounds postpartum, and now this is my second pregnancy. It's definitely something that I'm going to do again postpartum too, and I hope you guys find this helpful. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Also share some of the tips that have worked for you too, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.